You can. Yes.
House.
Yes.
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow. Yo.
Welcome back to the Road to Self-Love. It's your boy, Paul Fishman, self-love coach and you do you activist. Here today with my already best friend, Arielle Estoria.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
For me, self-love is all about just like being able to own who you are.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to introduce yourself as you want to be known.
Yes. My name is Arielle Estoria. I am a poet, a speaker, and I guess I have to own the whole model terminology now. But I usually say in all capacities that I am a storyteller, whether that's through picture, whether that's through words. So mostly what I do is I spill. And my motto is words not for the ears, but for the soul. So if people encounter me on stage and they only see what I looked like, what I wore that day, then I'm not doing my job as an artist. My goal is to make people cry. That's pretty much what I've professionalized. Doing that.
Where did that begin?
Yeah, it started with theater and acting actually. And I went to an arts high school and I kind of re-blossomed, if you will. And being able to tap into this theater part of me, which actually started in 7th grade. My history teacher, she was like basically the Miss Frizzle in like real life. For one of our assignments, we had to do Midsummer's Night's Dream as like a part of our school grade. And so I was like, oh, memorize Shakespeare? Yes, please. So I did this in 7th grade and she was like, she told my mom later, I didn't know this. She was like, you have to put her in the arts. So I initially went to college and I studied theater still. And then I double majored in psychology, child life psychology, specifically for the gifted child. Shortly after though, I realized theater's not it. Like, I don't need this the way other people need this. And so I dropped it. And then right after that, poetry came back into the picture. And that came from writing. So writing plays and writing monologues and things like that. And I would write in the perspective of other people, but then my poetry became more about writing in my own perspective.
Is there anything that you've like actively wanted to do that you've kept yourself from doing?
When I was graduating college, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this creative thing for a year. You know, that's it. I'm just gonna give it a year. I was like, after that, I think I just became this very overflowing yes. I think because up until that point, I like just clenched my fists for so long, and I said no to things for so long. When you say yes, then you know the universe, then God, then the space says finally. Like, you know, like finally I can give you what I have for you. You know, I can open the doors that I have set for you to walk through. And so I think I'm in that space now of this just overflowing, yeah.
Yep.
What I love about this show is like I have the opportunity to like hear the words that live in my head in so many different beautiful and eloquent ways.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about how Kim Kardashian changed your life.
She definitely shifted my life a lot. So the Kim Kardashian thing was pretty crazy because they released it, but then they took it back because they rebranded and everything. So then it was like this pause. And then all these things happened in the same month. So the night before they were like, or the week before, they were like, okay, your video is live this week. But I didn't see the video till the night before. So, and then when I got the gig, I didn't know it was a video until I got in the room. So that was cool. And then I got on taking photos, you know, the same kind of deal. But then I get in there, it's like a whole video crew. And I was like, this is interesting. And then there's 2 girls going before me. So they're saying their name, they're answering the questions. And I was like, all right, we're answering questions. Okay, great. And then it's my turn to get up there. And they're like, are you the poet? And I was like, what? They're like, okay, when we record, can you like do something for us? And I was like, what the heck does that even mean? And so I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do my 3-minute poems that I usually do. Like, that's not happening. So I did like 30 seconds of one. And the video released, and it was like, I mean, I was overwhelmed, to say the least. And then I didn't know that Kim Kardashian was posting them also on her story. So then that was like pretty gnarly and turned into an ugly cry and all of the things. And I was home when it released, and I haven't been home like with my family in quite a while. So it was really cool to have that big moment with them, because most of my big moments have been here. And so my mom got to be there, my dad got to be there, my little brother who's 12, he was like, "You got repost on Kim Kardashian's page?" And I was like, "How do you know who Kim Kardashian is?"
I think this is a perfect time for our first road trip game.
Yeah.
Road trip game.
Okay, great.
And
Okay,
I would
great.
love to, off the cuff, you and I write a poem together.
I love that. There's something about two people in a car. Two people in a space allowed to be vulnerable, allowed to be exposed, allowed to show up in the nitty-gritty and not have to clean up the mess. There is something about conversations that thread together, where history and present align in one space. There is something about the acceptance of body, about the acceptance of love, about the acceptance of each other, two stories combining and more stories combining, a thread that guides us here, a thread that guides us here.
There's something about sitting next to someone, looking forward, but talking side to side. There's something about being alone, but together, knowing only that we are who we are, when we are, how we are, right here, right now, living and breathing the same air, the same beauty, the same grace, knowing for only a few more seconds that we are going ahead and not forward. There's something about being in the car with a new friend and an old soul.
Oh, that was good. Do I keep going? I don't know. Keep going. There is something about being here. There is something that makes life so clear in this moment. In this moment, right here.
There's something about being right here. There's something, I'm feeling it right here. Something about you, something about me. There is something about sitting in a car with you and me right here.
Not even gonna leave that right there. Usually I make other people cry in podcasts, not the other way around.
Where do we go from here? Okay, so I'd love to know, what's next?
After really November, I'm like this very open book, you know, until like March. I'm excited. I just have no idea what those opportunities look like, you know, but I have like my consistent work that I do as a social media storyteller and a poet for a nonprofit. And so I'm like, okay, that keeps me consistent, and the rest gives me this freedom to find and explore and say yes or say no to things.
I'd love to know, what's the best mistake you've ever made?
In my first year of like, okay, I'm gonna freelance, I'm gonna do this, I worked with a poet just to learn under her, to seek guidance under her, and I probably had the worst anxiety, the worst kind of everything in that whole, like, I've kind of blocked it from my mental space, like in terms of how long the time was, but it was not even 6 months that I worked for her, and it ended in lawyer conversations, and it ended in a lot of counseling after, but she taught me a lot about who I didn't want to be. Man, would I have taken it back? I don't know. Could I have learned those lessons in a different way? Maybe. But the way it happened, I think I needed. Most definitely.
We're going to play Fuck, Marry, Kill. Poetry, acting, modeling.
Oh, I would definitely say passionate love to acting. I'm like ready for that. Marry poetry. Obviously, I think I am going to love that until I am in the grave. And then I guess we're going to have to kill modeling. Like, kill, like, how it's perceived, kill
Ooh.
like the way it has looked up until this point.
Where can people find you?
Yes, I'm all things Arielle Estoria. That's Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, iTunes.
Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time on the road to self-love.
Bye.
Bye.